Will Jacks with all 9 runs. Jamie Smith is yet to face a ball as Jack stands with that bat raised. Craig Overton runs away from us. Over the wicket he comes, full of length, driven, 1 bounce up towards the captain Lewis Gregory, stood up there at mid-off, and there is no run. But as I say, 4,000 in tonight, so there will be a cracking atmosphere.
Yeah, as they're spread liberally around the ground.
Yeah, the middle tier of the Peter May stand being used as well tonight. That's 2 new tiers on that Peter May stand. 1 oval square down there, a big new corporate box and members bar down there as Craig Overton is over the wicket to Jacks. Jacks turns this one off his stumps into the leg side. There won't be a run as that ball just rolls into Jack Leach, who's fully involved in all of this at the moment. 9 without loss. Surrey. So yeah, James Hildreth, his 200th T20 game. And we were saying he'd have obviously played a bit of Champions League, if everybody remembers that, when Somerset got to the Champions League. But most of that would have been domestic T20, wouldn't it? As over the wicket comes Craig Overton. And this is an open face from Will Jacks, helping it down towards third man, where he'll get a single. And that will bring Jamie Smith onto strike for the first time. And Surrey 10 without loss. But that's remarkable, really, because as I say, Will Jacks is playing his 50th already. But obviously he's played Big Bash franchise cricket. And a lot of these players have played so many games around the world. But as I say, Hildreth, the majority of those games would have been for Somerset. He'd have probably played the first year, wouldn't he? 2003?
Not sure.
As Craig Overton is in to Jamie Smith, then Smith's first ball's on a length, and the right-handed Smith just pushes this one straight back up the pitch.
He certainly played in the Somerset's only win in T20, which was in 2005.
Yeah.
When it was the 20 over cup.
Indeed. 18 years ago this all started.
Wasn't it?
Yep, it was. Surrey were in the first semi-final of that. Graham Smith, the captain, of course, of Somerset, as Craig Overton is in, driving his Jamie Smith, thickish inside edge, up to Davey at mid-on. He's scrambling through for the single, and it's a very tidy first over from Craig Overton. Just the 2 runs off it, 2 gone then. And Surrey 11 without loss. And at the moment, Will Jacks playing very, very sensibly at the moment. He pulled a short ball second over on Monday night, straight down deep mid-wicket's throat. Couldn't believe it. So he looks to me, Will Jacks, if he's just taking a little bit of time here. Obviously got off to that flying start with the 70 off 24 balls against Middlesex at Lords. Just looks like he's just going to take a bit more time this evening.
He hasn't faced a ball yet, has he? Oh, yes, of course he has. Yeah, he just faced that, just the one. Jamie Smith, who runs it up to mid-on. Leach again. In bowls to Smith, who swings this away up in the air. Didn't quite get hold of it. The fielder's going away towards it. Oh, and takes a spectacular catch. I think that's Will Smead.
What a catch that is. That is an unbelievable catch, going back over his shoulder. We saw Archie Lenham take one for Sussex, but that is running back, is an absolutely fantastic catch. And what a start that is for Somerset. And Ben Green, the catcher, over his shoulder, running back towards the Peter May stand. And that is a really, really good catch. We've seen a couple of those this season. Archie Lenham's one to get rid of Jason Roy against Sussex the other evening, and that one from Green's an absolute cracker.
It was.
Smith gone for 1, 11 for 1, sorry.
Yeah, important breakthrough for Somerset as well, because he's a good player, Jamie Smith. But what a catch. And that is Jack Leach's first wicket in T20 cricket.
Well done, Mr. Leach.
Wasn't the greatest of deliveries, but on the other hand, he did induce the false shot.
Where's he been?
Jamie Smith going for the slog sweep and just getting it high on the bat. But my money was always on the ball there. I didn't really give Ben Green much of a chance of getting back to it, but did a fantastic job. Right, they have changed ends, and it's Will Jacks on strike who pushes this into the onside, and Josh Davey does the fielding.
Yeah, Laurie Evans, the new batsman, of course, made 65 at Taunton. Missed out on Monday night with a tummy bug.
Yeah, he's a good player. Leach is in the bowls, and Jacks is down the pitch, hammering this straight for 6 runs. Terrific shot. Just 2 paces down the pitch, full swing of the bat. Really middled it down into the black sight screen in front of the pavilion.
It's fascinating, this. Will Jacks, who's having a look tonight.
17 for 1. Leach is in a bowls, and Jacks gives himself room but hits it straight to Smead at cover point. He makes a smart stop to a hard hit. We've got Lewis Gregory going out to reinforce the cover field. Backward point, cover point, extra cover, and a very straight, very wide rather, mid-off, as this is hit between backward point and cover for 4 runs. And well, Will Jacks looking a real threat here. 21 for 1 after 3 overs, and 20 of those to Will Jacks.
Yeah, it's a good shot again from Will Jacks. He just gives himself that little bit of room, doesn't he, and then cuts through the offside and splits the 2 men with Gregory, as Anthony Gibson has said, had gone to backward point, but he split the short third man and the backward point. But it sounds a strange thing to say with Will Jacks, because 20 out of the 21, but he's definitely had a look tonight. He hasn't been going after every single ball, and I think that's because of what happened on Monday. 4th over, first ball for Laurie Evans. Craig Overton from the Vauxhall end to the right-handed Evans. It's down the leg side, and wide will be the signal from Rob Bailey. Stood at this Vauxhall end. Neil Bainton is out at square leg. Our 2 umpires this evening. 22 for 1. That will be now for Surrey with that wide signalled. Laurie Evans settles himself down over his bat once more. Craig Overton wearing number 7 as always. Over the wicket he comes. Right arm over on a length to Laurie Evans, who just turns this one into the leg side, and there's no run. You can hear that atmosphere already though, just beginning to build up. And as I say, 4,000 I think it is tonight. I believe for the one-day international on the 1st of July here, as that's now a pilot event, they can have 50% in, so that'll be. And I was seeing that Wembley for the Euro final is going to be up to 66,000. As Craig Overton over the wicket he comes to Laurie Evans, and a little bit of shape off a goodish length again from Craig Overton. Lovely stuff this from Craig Overton. Good control. Yep, there was the wide, the first ball of the over, but his first over only went for 2. Just the wide so far in this over from Craig Overton, as he comes marching back towards us once again. Lots of people dotted around in the members' pavilion as well. As Craig Overton over the wicket he comes to Laurie Evans. Slower ball, and Evans has a drive at this. That goes past his edge. Nicely bowled again by Craig Overton.
Yeah.
And a bit of guile there from Craig Overton, and Laurie Evans just indicating that nipped away from him, but just nicely bowled. Slower ball, and Laurie Evans threw it very early and going past his outside edge. Congratulations to New Zealand, who have beaten India by 8 wickets.
Yeah.
So congratulations to New Zealand, as over the wicket once again goes Overton. Well bowled again, bangs this one in. Saw Laurie Evans take a couple of paces down the pitch to him, banged it in, and Laurie Evans can only push the ball back up the pitch, and there's no run.
Yeah, they deserve it, don't they? Having been so unlucky in the World Cup final back in 2019.
They do, and I'm just checking, because I was very proud of myself earlier when I said, oh, Kane Williamson got a 50 as well, because I thought Devon Conway might be the only ever one. This one is Laurie Evans pushing Overton down towards backward point, and there is no run. So again, very good controlled over this from Craig Overton. Slower balls, banged in delivery when he saw Laurie Evans come down the pitch towards him. But Kane Williamson finished 52 not out, Ross Taylor finished 47 not out, and New Zealand beating India. As Overton in once more and nips this one back at Laurie Evans, who turns it into the leg side. Will just get a single down to short fine leg. Magnificent over that from Craig Overton. Just the 2 off it, the wide, and that single off the last ball. He's only gone for 4 off his 2. Craig Overton. 4 overs gone here on BBC Radio Somerset, DAB, BBC Radio London, and Surrey are 23 for 1 after 4.
Yep, a very good over from Craig Overton, who historically has been very expensive. Both the Overtons have been expensive in this form of cricket. Their career economy rates are 9.44 in the case of Craig and 9.92 in the case of Jamie. So they're not known for keeping the runs down, but it's a great start from Craig Overton. It's going to be Josh Davey from the pavilion end. He's in bowling to Laurie Evans, who's there and bowls, and takes him on the pad, and they'll go through for a leg by as Tom Banton comes from behind the stumps to pick up. First time I've seen the new the new tiers on the Peter May stand, and the, what's it called, one oval square.
One oval square it's called.
I think the new development fits in very nicely.
It's
quite classy.
Yeah,
stylish.
If you come from Oval Tube, it looks a bit like the National Gallery actually from Oval Tube.
24 for 1 as Davey is in bowls to Jacks, who hammers that square. Oh, and it's misfielded by Will Smead. Not clever at cover point. It was travelling, but he'll be very disappointed.
Yeah, he fairly should have stopped it. I think what happened to him was it just there are some patches there from a used strip, and I just wonder whether it caught the edge of one of those and just flew at him as he went down to pick it up. But 4 more to Jacks. He's doing all the scoring here for Surrey. It's 24 not out now out of 28, Will Jacks.
We're in the 5th over. Josh Davey is in and bowls to Jacks, who's up on his toes, and that's 4 more. That was a lovely shot. He didn't go after that one quite so hard, picked his spot and timed it away. He came down the pitch, but actually the shot he played was more of a back foot drive than a cover drive. Nice straight bat.
What's so good about that shot is, again, Davey is trying to defend that leg side boundary. So he's only allowed the 2 out, so he's got a ring of 4 in the covers. It's a long old boundary that out towards Archbishop Tennyson's, but Will Jacks on the up that time just drives it for 4 more.
There's Davey in a bowls, and this is lofted away. That could go all the way. It does indeed, down about 10 rows back into the Peter May stand at straight mid-wicket. And that's the second 6 that Will Jacks has hit, and that was the slog sweep, and he really got hold of it. 38 for 1.
Well, it's the 2 previous deliveries that have caused that delivery. So Davey, as I say, trying to defend the long boundary, has gone outside his off stump and been pushed twice through the covers for 4. So he's gone a bit straighter, and that's what he wants. Anything on his pads, he's going to look to go short leg side boundary, and he's just picked that up and stuck it in the Peter May stand for 6. So it's just good batting, that, really, from Will Jacks, who's on to 34.
Davey again comes loping in that familiar fashion. He's there and bowls to Jacks, who pulls that away again, and that has gone for 6 more. A little bit straighter that time, a little bit flatter, but just as emphatic. 44 for 1.
Yeah, I do like this from Will Jacks. He definitely had a look tonight, and now he's just got himself in. He's working out his angles. Again, for Davey there, I don't think at the moment with Will Jacks, he's not quite sure where to bowl to him, because he's taken him on the up twice now through the covers for 4. He's gone a bit straighter and been slung off a good length into the Peter May stand. He's just dropped his length and been pulled into the Peter May stand for 6.
20 runs off the over so far. Last ball, Davey to Jacks. This is driven but not timed. Comes off the bottom of the back. So shy at the stumps from Gregory, which misses, and I think Jacks would have been home in any case. So at the end of the 5th over, 45 for 1. Surrey have got off to, if not quite a flyer, it's still a very, very good start on what, from the evidence of Monday evening, is not a particularly quick scoring pitch.
No, and I think what you're seeing here is the fact that Will Jacks, having got out on Monday night, trying to pull a ball in the 2nd over from memory off the spinner down deep mid-wicket throat, he's just had a little look and got himself in here. Craig Overton it is, final over of the power play, coming into Will Jacks, who's on a length and pushes this one back up the pitch, and there's no run. And Overton, outstanding really, he's only gone for 4 of his 45 runs, so all the runs have been coming from the pavilion end.
Gather there's a little bit of rumble on the line, so our apologies to those of you who are picking that up. Not quite sure what the problem is.
No, we've never had a problem before, so apologies. But he's going to try and defend this long leg side boundary, is Craig Overton. So he's got 2 men back off towards the Harleford Road as Overton is in again, and this one's turned leg side by Will Jacks. He's going to pick up 1, he's going to pick up 2, because it is a long old carry out there. But again, that's sensibly played by Will Jacks, because he hasn't tried to hit that too hard, just nudges it into the leg side and picks up 2 runs.
I don't think Craig Overton's too impressed by that.
I think, well, it's not straightforward sweeping out there, to be honest with you. If you get it halfway, you're always getting 2 runs. You need Usain Bolt out there to stop 2, as Craig Overton is in again, and Jacks goes outside his leg stump, turns this one into the leg side. This time they won't get 2, as Jack Leach is up to do the fielding. So they've got Usain Bolt out there in the shape of Jack Leach at the moment, and that'll be a single. 48 for 1.
He's not the fleetest of foot, is our Jack.
He did well there though.
Oh, he's wholehearted fielder.
Sprinted in. Yeah. Evans comes on to strike on 1. As in over the wicket goes Overton, and Evans a full length ball and chips this back over Overton's head. Hasn't got all of this. We'll get a couple though. Lewis Gregory goes back from mid off to do the fielding. 2 more to the total, 2 more to Laurie Evans. He's on to 3, and the 50 there, coming up in the 6th over. So steady, I'd say, from Surrey. Steady start this.
I think it's a bit better than steady.
They haven't gone mad, that's the only thing. It's been pretty calculated so far, as Craig Overton's in, and that's down the leg side, and wide will be the signal. And 1 more to the total, 51 for 1. I'd say it's been, rather than brutal, I'd say it's been calculated,
yes,
especially from Jacks. Jacks can be utterly brutal. We saw that in that first game against Middlesex. It was ridiculous, really. I think it was 50 or 14 balls or something, but that was brutal hitting. This tonight, it's been sensibly played so far. As here goes Laurie Evans, as I say that, trying the little ramp shot from outside the off stump, got nothing on it, and Banton takes that one moving away to his right hand side. So you can see what he's thinking. Fine leg on the edge of the circle, I'll just ramp this, I'll play a little ramp shot. But he got absolutely nothing on that at all, and taken by Banton moving away to his right hand side. 51 for 1. As Craig Overton comes in over the wicket to Evans, that's way down the leg side, and Craig Overton here, he's been watertight. He just lost it a touch in this over. Another wide, and 1 more to the total, 52 for 1, and he's actually come jogging back.
Yeah, must have been given the hurry up by his captain.
I would have thought so, because you've got your cut-off time, haven't you? So you don't want to take too long. 7:45 is the cut-off, as Craig Overton is over the wicket again to Evans, slower ball, and Evans will just open the face guide this one down towards short third man. They'll pick up a single, end of the over, 6 gone, and power play done and dusted, and Surrey 53 for 1.
6 overs, Surrey are 53 for 1.
Yeah, and
concludes the power play.
Will Jacks appears to be batting on a different pitch to Laurie Evans and Jamie Smith before him, dominating the scoring, 44 out of 53.
Yeah, and obviously Surrey have learned from Monday night, really, whereas I say Essex did to Surrey what Surrey normally do to teams when they come here. So it's going to be fascinating to see what sort of total Surrey can put on the board and how Somerset go about chasing it, but at least they can get some men out on the boundary rope now.
Still getting that rumble. I don't know what it is.
Apologies everyone, but we've never had it at this end before, so not a lot I can do about that, I'm afraid.
Lewis Goldsworthy's going to bowl from the pavilion end, nearly a catch to short extra cover. It's gone for 4 in the end. An off drive, but not very far away from Jack Leach.
Can move the kit
short
around.
Extra cover.
Try moving the kit around, I suppose. Oh, don't lose your phone there, Mr. Gibson.
57 for 1. Goldsworthy bowls again. This is driven back and just eludes him as he dives away to his left. Max Waller comes around on the boundary at long off to do the fielding. Another single, 58 for 1. Evans moves on to 9. Goldsworthy, just 5'7" or so inches tall. This is short and pushed through, and Leach quickly across to. Is that Leach or is that Gregory? I think that's Gregory, in fact. Goldsworthy again bowls to Jacks and pushes that one through again, and Ben Green will sweep up on the cover boundary as the sun comes out. We've got the floodlights on here as well, slightly superfluous, a bit of a waste of electricity, but I suppose as this is bowled, nicely bowled by Goldsworthy, just played back to him by Laurie Evans, who's on 9, 59 for 1.
Bowling quick, isn't he?
He's got a good
sticking it in
head
the
on
pitch,
young shoulders, as young Lewis is there and bowls, pushes this one through, takes Evans on the pad, and not a bad over that, just the 6 runs from it. 59 for 1 after 7 overs. 45 to Jacks and 9 to Evans.
Yeah, I'd hazard a guess that's the cheapest over we've had from the pavilion end, without a shadow of a doubt, from Lewis Goldsworthy. And as I say, he was bowling pretty flat there, just sticking it in the pitch. And 59 for 1 after 7. So Max Waller, we're going to get spin from both ends now. So Max Waller spin from both ends from the Vauxhall end of the ground. And it will be Will Jacks on strike. So Max Waller, I think it's fair to say, took a bit of tap at Taunton against Surrey, but from the sounds of it, bounced back very well from that. Very fine bowler is Max Waller. Very, very fine.
Yeah, he went at 14.5 against Surrey, but much better against Kent.
Yep, so Max Waller bowling to Will Jacks on 45, 59 for 1. Waller is in, and Jacks just nudges this one into the leg side. He's thinking about to now. Craig Overton now knows how quick you've got to be to get up there, and he does very well.
He is quick though.
His brother will be in exactly the same position when Somerset are batting.
They are terrific fielders though, aren't they? Whether they're in the slips or
absolutely. No, it's brilliant. So
bounding around the boundary.
Jacks on 46, and back onto strike comes Laurie Evans on 9, as Waller is into him, and sweeping is Evans out towards deep backward square. He'll pick up a single. That'll be 1 more to the total, 1 more to Laurie Evans, and the 50 partnership comes up between these two. Evans has 10, Jacks on 46.
Yes, it's dominating proceedings out there at the moment.
Sun shining down on the pitch. Oh, Max Waller, that one's come out all wrong. Halfway down, wide outside the off stump, and taken by Tom Banton, moving away to his right hand side. A little shake of the head there from Max Waller, and he comes again, and this is swept. 1 bounce out towards deep backward square again. It spins off the turf.
Yeah, it did.
All go out there.
Lammonby had to move, had to adjust very quickly there. He did very well. Looks as if it was going to be a comfortable take.
Jacks.
But it turned away from him like a leg break.
47. 63 for 1 as Waller is in again, and little reverse sweep from Evans as it got to the shore backward point. No, run out now, because backward point came sprinting in, got it on the half volley, and then Evans and Jacks got in a right old muddle, and Laurie Evans is run out for 10 and 63 for 2. And Will Jacks is down on his haunches halfway down the pitch, but they had a right old mess up there, because we were watching the fielder, Jack Leach, to see if he was going to get to the catch from backward point. He got it on the half volley, slid, but then Laurie Evans has just shot off for a single, so that's a big wicket. Evans gone for 10, 63 for 2.
It was his own fault. It wasn't his call, it was Will Jacks's call, and Jacks could see that it wasn't a single, and why Laurie Evans thought there might be a single there, I really don't know.
Well, I think he possibly just shot off for the shot, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then, Leach did very well actually. As I say, slid, got it on the half volley, and then got the throw in straight over the top of the stump. So Ben Geddes is out there. Made his debut on Monday night. Made his Surrey age group debut at 9, Anthony. Led Surrey to the under-17s national championship. Now playing for the first team as his first ball is hitting the pads as he looks to nudge this one on the leg side. And leg by will be the signal. And that'll be one more to this Surrey total. But that's a big wicket. Oh, get his bit of bat on that actually. He's off the mark. 64 for 2 as waiting his Will Jacks settled over his bat once more. And Jacks 47 sweeps again. Goldsworthy does the fielding out there at deep backward square as the throw comes in. And they'll pick up a single. That'll be one more to the total. One more to Will Jacks. Jacks on to 48. End of the over. 8 gone. 65 for 2.
Yeah, it's getting worse as well.
There's nothing I can do from this end. We've never had it
like
before.
An interference from
We've
something.
never had it before, and we're dialed into the greats at BBC Radio Bristol, so I wonder whether that might be the reason, but there's not a lot I can do about that from this end, I'm afraid. Unless you want me to dial down and dial back in again, I'll do whatever anybody wants.
We'll try
really.
that after this over. Here's Goldsworthy again and bowls, and this is cut backward of square. And Ben Green is going to send in the return, but not before they've completed 2 runs. 67 for 2, and that is Will Jacks's 50.
5 fours and 3 sixes.
How many balls was it, Mark? I didn't quite pick up what Johnny Barron said.
Just 1 second, and I'll get all that information for you. 28 balls.
28 balls. It's Goldsworthy then, in and bowls to Jacks, who plays this out into the offside, takes a comfortable single. Ben Green does the fielding. 68 for
things round the necks and
garlands.
headdresses, garlands, yeah.
Anyway, Ishsodi from the Emerald stand end didn't bowl very well last night at Trent Bridge. Got his length wrong, and well, it wasn't a good time to bowl. Hales and Clark just murdered it. He'll be hoping for better as he comes in to bowl to Harry Brook. He bowls and Brook drives his first ball, which is full, straight back to the bowler, and there's no run. Field is now well spread. Wiltshire 22 for 4.
Didn't have a great night last week down the road, did he? Had
No,
four overs for 53.
Johnny got really stuck in, didn't he? Sodhi is in and bowls, and Brook sweeps and gets a single to D'Oliveira at deep backward square leg. Sodhi, Kiwi, good record in T20 cricket, to be fair, all over the world, but not had things all his own way recently. I'll just describe one more ball and then I'll shoot off to update BBC Hereford and Worcester's FM listeners with a bit of good news for a change. This Sodhi in again, 8th over, 3rd ball of it, bowls googly, and Brook drives at this, Hill drives at this, I beg your pardon, and gets an edge through where slip would have been, gets a single as Dorchester as the fielding. 24 for 4.
Yeah, good piece of fielding as well, because I think he had the legs to get to the boundary. Had he not got something on that, Ben Dorchus. So Sodhi to continue to Harry Brook, who's on just the 4 so far. In comes Sodhi, swept by Brook, and it's just dropped short of the man. It was swept on the up, really. He played that sort of...
And this is swung leg side by Will Jacks, and he'll get a single. Goldsworthy does very well there with the throw, and one bounce over the top of the stumps, and was 73 for 2 as Max Waller gets ready to come in once again over the wicket to Ben Geddes, and Geddes all's gone, caught and bowled, looking to whip this one leg side, gets a leading edge on it, and it just flicks away straight back to the bowler, and he's gone. Ben Geddes has gone, and Geddes goes for 5. It's 73 for 3. Welcome back to listeners on BBC Radio Somerset DAB, and well, Geddes has gone for 5. 73 for 3, Surrey, and it's Max Waller with the wicket, caught and bowled. Geddes for 5.
Simple caught and bowled. I don't know quite what Geddes was trying to do there.
Sorry,
Well,
Jamie
let's hope
Overton.
that is. I'm sorry that those of you listening to BBC Radio Somerset DAB missed that wicket. But,
Well, I don't know. They might have just got it back
Just-
in time
yeah.
there. So if you still get a buzzing, there is nothing I can do from this end there, because we've I'm not sure it's this end. 73 for 3, and Surrey lose Ben Geddes, and out comes, you've come back at the right time, because Jamie Overton is out there now. Get his brother on.
Yeah,
So
bring Craig on.
so we're in the 10th over, 73 for 3, and Jamie Overton waiting for Max Waller, and Overton's first ball nudges into the leg side, and there's and he was a little unlucky on Monday night. Jamie Overton was given out caught behind when it hit his back pad. I thought he was out LBW, but he was actually given out caught behind as Waller's in again, and this is another strange old delivery from Max Waller. Full toss, but he's off the mark, is Jamie Overton, turning that one out towards deep backward square, and they will pick up a single, and that'll be Jamie Overton's first run, and we'll move Surrey on to 74 for 3. Will Jack's on 52 here, holding it all together, turns this one into the leg side. They'll think about 2, they won't get 2, because Max Waller has gone sprinting back to get the ball off his own bowling, and Will Jacks moves on to 53. So 1 ball to go, and then Surrey will be halfway through their 10 overs. 75 for 3. Waller comes bouncing in once again. Here goes Jamie Overton using his feet, and then pushes Max Waller straight back up the pitch. There is no run. That's halfway then for Surrey, and Surrey 75 for 3. The 3 to go. Jamie Smith caught brilliantly by Ben Green off Leach for 1. Evans run out by Leach for 10, and Geddes caught and bowled by Waller for 5.
Yep, and after conceding 53 in the power play, just 22 have come from the subsequent 4 overs. So the Somerset spinners, Waller and Goldsworthy, doing their stuff. But Lewis Goldsworthy has been relieved at the pavilion end after bowling 2 overs for 13 by his skipper, Lewis Gregory, who has not been at his best with the ball. Apologies again for the rumbling on the line. We don't know what it is. Here's Gregory in then from the pavilion end, and this is pulled away, and it's going to go for 4 runs again by Sex, the 2 fielders out on the leg side boundary, the shorter of the 2 boundaries here, and that's 79 for 3.
Yeah, just for a second I thought he pulled it straight down one of those 2 fielders' throats there, but just got enough on it, did Will Jacks.
Gregory bowls again. This is short and punched into the onside. There'll be 2. They decide against coming back for the second run, because that's Craig Overton fielding that, and his brother knows better than anyone what a good arm Craig has got, and keeps them down just to the single. 80 for 3. 58 to Jacks. Jamie Overton on strike. Gregory bowls to him, and he runs this down towards third man, where Jack Leach will scurry in that distinctive fashion of his to do the fielding. Another run goes on the board. 81 for 3. We're in the 11th over. Somerset winning the toss and asking Surrey to bat on a used pitch. It's the pitch that was used here on Monday night when Essex enjoyed a surprisingly comfortable victory over Surrey in a match reduced to 17 overs aside. Gregory to Jacks. Jacks goes for a big drive. It almost gets underneath his bat. He picks up a single as hits the very bottom of his bat and just dribbles out into the offside. 82 for 3.
Yeah, again he's pitched up, slower ball, and he's wanting to launch that into the Peter Maidstone. I think he feels he's missed out a bit. It's brave delivery that from Lewis Gregory, it really is.
Comes again from the pavilion end, in and bowls to Overton, who pulls that away and will pick up 4 runs. It was very nearly a very good stop out there, but not quite. So Jamie Overton's first boundary against his old teammates. First time he's batted against Somerset since he joined Somerset. Bowled against them, bowled the 1 over down at Taunton a couple of weeks ago, 86 for 3.
Yeah, Tom Lammonby there. He didn't have a long way to go, did he? But did his very best.
He was travelling.
Yeah.
Gregory to Overton as their bowls, and that's a wide outside the off stump.
Yeah, I think this innings is in the balance as we speak. I think it's in the balance at the moment. I think Somerset will be delighted to have picked up their 3 wickets. With Will Jacks there, Surrey will still be eyeing up a pretty big score, but Somerset will be thinking, ooh, we could keep this down to something manageable at the moment. So it's nicely balanced, this game at the moment.
Gregory bowls full of length and played square of the wicket on the offside. A tumbling attempt to make a stop by Lewis Goldsworthy, but Ben Green is there to back up. It's just the single. It's 88 for 3 after 11 overs.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Going at 8 at the moment, Surrey. They'll want to push it on from here. But those 3 wickets, Smith, Evans, Geddes. But with Will Jacks still there on 59, then Surrey will be eyeing up a substantial score. But
what do you reckon par is on this pitch?
150. I'd say 150, which shows that Surrey's 118 the other night was never going to be enough against Essex. But yeah, I'd say 150 on here. And get yourself up around 160, 170. You're in a really good position on here, I think. So really what I'm saying is Surrey need to double from here, I think. And Jack Leach from the Vauxhall end is getting ready to come into the attack, and his first ball, left arm round the wicket. His third over, he bowled his first 2 from the pavilion end, is swept by Jamie Overton out towards deep backward square, and they will pick up a single, and Jamie Overton moves on to 8, and it's 89 for 3, and that will bring Will Jacks back onto strike on 59 as Jack Leach left arm round the wicket he comes, and Jacks turns this one down the ground. He'll get a single, and they'll pick up one more to the total. Jacks moves on to 60. He's played this pretty sensibly so far, Will Jacks. As I say, it hasn't been brutal from him at all. 90 for 3, Surrey. Leach, left arm round the wicket to Jamie Overton. Down the pitch he comes, slaps it straight to short extra cover, and Gregory takes the catch. So Jamie Overton danced down the pitch, smashed it, but straight to the captain. And Overton goes for 8. And again, this is what I mean. Somerset picking up wickets at good times. 90 for 4, Surrey. Jacks has 60 of that 90. And Jamie Overton twirls his bat in his hand as he marches back towards the dressing room. Gone for H, caught by Gregory off Leach. 90 for 4.
And you can see how disappointed he is, Jamie Overton, twirling his, doing sort of juggling with his bat and beating it against his pads as well.
Yeah.
Rory Burns.
Yeah, out comes the Surrey Championship captain, of course, and England's opener, Rory Burns, coming in at number 6 this evening. Made 2 on Monday night on his return to the Surrey T20 side. And he joins Will Jacks out there at the moment. He's got 60 out of these 90 runs.
Would he be in a full strength Surrey T20 side?
He was last year, and actually I'll get his figures for you.
He hasn't got a
year.
fantastic record in T20 cricket, has he?
Last year in the T20, where are you, Rory Burns? Yeah, average of 23.5, strike rate of 127, a couple of 50s in there as well for him with the bat last year for Surrey in T20.
Career average is only just under 17.
Yeah, I think now though, the thing you find with him now is when he comes back from Test match duty, he's sort of freed up a bit when he comes to T20. As here comes his England teammate, Jack Leach to him, and the left-handed Burns is off the mark straight away, tucks this one down towards long on, takes a single. And off the mark straight away is Rory Burns, 91 for 4. He played a particularly memorable knock at Lord's last year, I seem to remember, in the T20, where he smashed it to all parts. Just, oh my goodness. He came out and whacked it to all parts of of St John's Wood last year. As Will Jacks on 60, Leach is into him, flatter delivery, and Jacks punches down towards backward point, and there is no run. So 91 for 4. Will Jacks has 60 of those runs, so pretty much dominated this as Will Jacks, as he's forward here to Leach and pushes this one out towards the sweeper on the cover boundary rope, and it's a good over that from Jack Leach. Picks up his second T20 wicket on his T20 debut, and Surrey, after 12 overs, are here on BBC Radio Somerset, DAB and BBC Radio London, are 92 for 4.
Yeah, good over that. The wicket of Jamie Overton in it.
Change bowling from the Billion end, Lewis Goldsworthy.
Lewis Goldsworthy coming back into the attack to bowl his third over. 2 overs for 13 so far. He's been the Craig Overton's been the most economical. He's been the second most economical, as this is driven up to long off just for a single. Craig Overton does the fielding. Craig Overton tends to field on the straight boundaries, take advantage of his height for anything that is only just going to clear the boundary. Rory Burns will face his first delivery from Goldsworthy, who'll be turning the ball into the left-hander.
Yeah, and he's got that long leg side boundary for the left-hander, hasn't he?
He's in and bowls. Burns is down the pitch, turning that away into the onside. Craig Overton has got the ball in his hand and gets it away really, really quickly. Fine piece of fielding, sends in the return on the bounce to Goldsworthy.
Yeah, the Overton's fielding will be a feature of this evening, both of them.
94 for 4 in the 13th over. Goldsworthy bowling to Jacks. He's there and bowls. This is driven away through the offside. Ben Green is going to cut it off. He'll send in the return, but they'll come back for a second run. 96 for 4. Jacks on to... Yes, they did complete 2.
2, yeah.
64 he has. Goldsworthy again to Jacks, who this time just drops it into the offside, sets off straight away for a single, which is achieved comfortably enough. 97 for 4.
The reason I was smiling was there's a bit of buzzing on the line, and now it sounds like they're tearing the stand down below us as well.
Goldsworthy to Burns. Again plays that up to long on, where Max Waller will do the fielding. Somerset's 2 gun fielders out there, Max Waller and Craig Overton. Of course, no Tom Abel here this evening. It's a huge blow to Somerset's hopes, not just in this competition but in the county championship. We've got a torn hamstring. I've no idea when he may be able to play again. This is Jacks back on his stumps, and Lewis Goldsworthy bowling well there, following Jacks and not giving him any room, and all he can do is just play it out into the offside. End of that over. The 13th, 98 for 4 Surrey, and well, Somerset are staying in this. If they can get rid of Will Jacks, I think they'll fancy their chances of keeping Surrey down to something manageable. We've got 7 overs to be bowled. 7 8s, 56, 150-ish.
Yeah, which I think would be about par. I think that would be about par. But yeah, absolutely, this whole innings is in Will Jacks' hands at the moment. He's played very responsibly tonight. It sounds a strange thing to say. This is the best T20 innings I've seen him play, Will Jacks. As Leach comes left arm round the wicket to Rory Burns, who stands up straight and switch hits him away for 4 runs. So good shot that from Rory Burns, just stood up straight and switch hit, and away for 4. The 100 coming up for Surrey with that boundary. Burns is on to 7. It's 102 for 4.
Yeah,
good shot from Rory Burns.
A very good shot. He absolutely middled it.
Took it out from outside his off stump. That'll make Leach think, as he's just moving his backward point out to cover, and then his sweeper on the cover rope is being pushed behind square because he's got a couple back on that shorter leg side boundary and the long off and the long on as well.
Third man and fine leg up inside the circle.
As Burns is down the pitch, clips this one very nicely into the leg side. They'll want two, they'll only get one though, as Max Waller comes quickly round to do the fielding. So a single for Rory Burns. Nice feet from Rory Burns there. He's on to 8, 103 for 4. Will Jacks comes back onto strike on 65. There's a little survey of the field again, does Will Jacks, and then Jack Leach will come left arm round the wicket to him, and Jacks is forward, little leading edge, looking to turn that one leg side, and that potters out towards Lewis Gregory in there at short extra cover, and there is no run.
Much approval on Twitter for the live dial.
You've got a new fan club, Mr. Gibson. Down the pitch comes Jacks. He hasn't got enough of this. This will be a huge wicket. Waller with the catch. Jack Leach with his third wicket, because that's the man who was doing all the run scoring for Surrey. And Will Jacks will be livid with himself there. He's looking to the heavens as he makes his way off. It's been a good innings of 65. The reason I was saying it's the best innings I've seen him play was the responsibility of it. But there at a crucial time, he's looked to go down the ground. He's picked out Max Waller. Now Somerset will be delighted. Jacks goes for 65. It's 103 for 5.
Yeah, not the sort of fielder you want to pick out either. Max Waller, one of the very best fielders in what is a very good Somerset fielding side. Just didn't quite get hold of it. And credit to Jack Leach. Well, I think on this form, he'll play more than one.
He'll be in the England side by next week.
3 for 27 he has in 3.2 overs.
Yeah, it's fascinating that he's never played before. Quality bowler, of course. They crossed, so Rory Burns is back on strike, and Jordan Clark is down there at the non-strikers end. And Rory Burns is forward to Jack Leach. He's almost popped it straight back to Jack Leach as he's looked to wristily play this one into the leg side. So just gripping a touch, I think, for Mr. Leach. 3 for on his debut. Jack Leach. It's round the wicket again. He goes. There is some turn there, bit of bite for Leach. That hits the powder birds. I think the thing is, it's very difficult at the end of the over. Good over again from Jack Leach, gets that huge wicket of Will Jacks for 60, but I think it's difficult on here to walk out from ball 1 and start smashing the ball to all parts. We saw Jacks had to take his time just to get in on here, work the pace out, so it's going to be difficult for Surrey now with fresh batsmen to really up the tempo, I think. Got a chance here, Somerset, of keeping Surrey, well, under that 150 now, I would think.
Yep. Gregory is going to bowl to Jordan Clark, tall, strong, fast bowler from Cumbria originally, but came to Surrey via Lancashire, and very useful bowling all-rounder. But he can hit a long ball. Here comes Lewis Gregory to bowl to him. He's in and bowls, and that hurries Clark. And he plays it back to Gregory. Gregory's just bowled the 1 over, which went for 13. Max Waller 2 overs, 1 for 9. He's bowled well. Jack Leach 4 overs, 3 for 29.
Yeah, Jordan Clark top score for Surrey against Essex, 30 off 31 balls with 2 4s and 1 6.
Comes Gregory again. He's in and bowls, and this is played up to long on, and Josh Davey will come in to do the fielding.
Half the pitch now, half the ground now is in shade, and half is in bright sunshine now.
Lovely to see so many people back inside a cricket ground. There's a good atmosphere.
It's good, isn't it? It really is.
Sitting in the sunshine after the. Have you had any matches rained off?
2 now.
2, yeah.
2 abandonments.
We've had 2 successive abandonments to Sussex. Wasn't too heartbroken about that.
Wherever Sussex go, seems to get rained off at the moment.
It's Gregory to Burns. He's in and bowls, and Burns just helps this around the corner down to Ben Green at deep backward square leg. The single is taken. 104 for 5. Yeah, I wasn't too heartbroken about a no result against Sussex at Hove, because they're a pretty useful outfit.
Yeah, they're a very good side, aren't
but, not being able to get a game against Glamorgan was a rather different kettle of fish, because I quite fancied our chances against Glamorgan. Here's Gregory to Jordan, who's again hurried. There's a shy at the stumps, which misses.
Quick from Rory Burns. He is quick, but that really did scamper that signal. I thought he was in a bit of trouble there. He got 5 overs here against Sussex, and it had everything. Those 5 overs had everything, and then it rained. So Surrey are off to Hove on Sunday, but everyone's telling me that the forecast for Sunday is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I think so. 106 for 5. Gregory in and bowls to Burns, who gets a short ball, which he doesn't go up hard after, just works it away in front of square on the onside for another single. 107 for 5. We're in the 15th over.
I'm just looking at the Surrey scorecard here, and other than Jacks, we've only had 4 boundaries. Jacks, 6 4s and 2 6s.
There's Gregory to Jordan, and this comes off the edge, and it's a thick edge, and it'll go for 4. A diving attempt to make the stop at backward point, but 4 runs it is. 111 for 5 at the end of that over. 5 overs remain.
Quick hands from Jordan Clark, and that whistled off down to the boundary road. So that's the 5th boundary we've had, other than Will Jacks. Will Jacks 6 4s and 3 6s, apologies. And then there was a boundary for Laurie Evans, a boundary for Geddes, a boundary for Jamie Overton. Burns has switch hit that boundary, and now a first boundary as well for Jordan Clark. So 111 for 5, and Max Waller coming back into the attack from this Vauxhall end of the ground. And Waller so far this evening, 2 overs, no maidens, 1 for 9 for Max Waller. And that wicket of Ben Geddes just after Mr. Gibson's live dialing. 111 for 5.
It hasn't done the trick, I'm afraid. Apologies to those listening on BBC Somerset DAB.
As in comes Waller, and Burns drives this one straight down the ground. He'll get a single. Down here to Ben Green at long on. And that'll be 1 more to Rory Burns. He's on to 11. 112 for 5. Jordan Clark comes back onto strike on 6. As Clark has a little look around the field. Max Waller will come over the wicket to Jordan Clark, and Clark is forward, turns this one leg side down towards short fine leg. They'll pick up another single. 1 more to the total. 1 more to Jordan Clark. He moves on to 7. Surrey moving on to 113 for 5. Crowd enjoying this, sat in the Peter May stand. They're basking in the sun at the moment. Very nice it is, as the left-handed Burns slog sweeps all along the carpet out towards deep mid-wicket. They'll pick up 1 more. Burns moves on to 12. 114 for 5. Back onto strike comes Jordan Clark once again, as Max Waller is in over the wicket to him, and this is turned by Jordan Clark down towards short fine leg. They'll pick up another single. 1 more to the total, and 1 more to Jordan Clark. So I think we're seeing at the moment exactly what we said. It's very difficult to come out there and start smacking the ball to all parts this evening. I think you've got to get yourself in first. 115 for 5 as Waller is in to Burns. Full toss, and Burns has slapped it straight to Jack Leach on the edge of the circle at cover. He'll feel he's missed out there, Rory Burns. There's been a couple of those tonight from Max Waller. That was a full toss, and Burns smacked it straight to Leach as Waller's in again to him. Sweeping is Burns, goes past his edge. Bantam whips off the bails, but nicely bowled by Max Waller. Took a lot of pace off that one. 16 overs have gone, 4 are left. And Surrey 115 for 5, so they're going to have to go some now to get up to that 150, Anthony Gibson.
Yep, it remains to be seen how good a score this is. Those of you listening who are used to scores at Taunton will think that 115 for 5 after 16 overs isn't great, but I don't think this is the easiest pitch in the world to score runs quickly on, and I think that that innings of Will Jacks will look very, very good in the context of this game overall. Craig Overton's going to come back to bowl what will be his fourth over from the Pavilion end. He bowled his other 3 overs from the Vauxhall end for just 12 runs, so he's bowling to Jordan Clark. He's in and bowls and hurries Clark into a defensive push into the offside. Good, accurate bowling.
Yeah, he's bowled really well tonight, Craig Overton. Will Jacks sort of just made him lose his radar a touch in his last over, but other than that, he's been absolutely on the money this evening.
Yeah, it's the best I have seen him bowl in T20 cricket, I think. He's there again, bowling to, this is down the leg side and will be given as a wide. He was lucky to get away with that, Craig Overton. It was short down the leg side, fine leg. James Hildreth is up in the circle, and if Jordan Clark had got anything on that at all, it would have sailed away down to the fine leg boundary, but he didn't. But it's a wide, 116 for 5. He bowls again, and this is run down to third man, where Jack Leach will do the fielding, sends in the return on the bounce to Tom Banton. It'll be interesting to see how Tom Banton goes this evening. He needs a few runs. Not been having a great time.
He might enjoy tonight.
Well, big stage, isn't it?
Exactly, big crowd.
And he is one for the big occasion. It's Overton to Burns. He's there and bowls and takes Burns on the pad, feels for LBW. A little bit optimistically, that was going down the leg side. Just cramping Burns for room. They take a leg by, 118 for 5.
England are playing Sri Lanka tonight in Cardiff in a T20.
How are they getting on?
Which I completely forgot about, if I'm honest. Sri Lanka 70 for 4 batting. Wickets for Sam Curran, Mark Wood, Chris Jordan and Liam Livingston.
Here we got Craig Overton bowling to Jordan Clark, who swings that away into the onside, and it's gone for 6. Just Tom Lammonby out there on the deep mid-wicket boundary, leapt to try and take the catch, but couldn't get a hand on it.
Yeah, that was tough. That was coming out the sun as well, wasn't it, for Tom Lammonby? So he leapt skyward right on the edge of the boundary, but coming out the sun as well. That would have been really tricky out there for him.
124 for 5. Overton bowls to Clark, who's beaten and caught. Got a thin edge and through to Tom Banton, who takes a comfortable catch away to his right. So Craig Overton getting the last laugh there against Jordan Clark. 124 for 6. And Clark gone. Caught Banton, bowled Overton for 15.
Yeah, good bowling from Craig Overton, wasn't it? Bent his back on that one quicker, and Jordan Clark leant back, tried to cut. Little edge, nicely taken off his feet by Tom Banton. So a perky little knock that from Jordan Clark, and that will bring out Gus Atkinson, who Laurie Evans described Gus Atkinson, christened him MS Atkinson last year after Mr. Dhoni, because he coolly walked out at Chelmsford, smashed a 4 to win the game. So talented boy is Gus Atkinson, all-rounder. He'll do a bit of bowling, I would have thought, tonight as well for Surrey. And in terms of T20 cricket, made his debut last year in the competition for Surrey.
Here's Overton in and bowls, and Atkinson plays that square of the wicket. They sort of and ah as to whether to go for a single. It was never there, as Lewis Goldsworthy was quickly onto it. It's the end of the over. It's 124 for 6. And Craig Overton has 1 for 20 in 4 overs. Well bowled.
Yeah, very good tonight from Craig Overton. Yeah, Gus Atkinson played 9 games last season, has a strike rate of 176.
Gracious me.
Very good, isn't it? But no, it was the innings where he just walked out there, and Laurie Evans had batted beautifully and walked out there and just smashed a 4 in the last over and then walked off and won the game. So he christened him MS Atkinson after Mr. Dhoni. Did Laurie Evans last year. Max Waller it will be to bowl the 18th over, 124 for 6 Surrey. And Burns will be the man on strike on a lovely evening here in South London now. Beautiful, beautiful evening. It's been a very nice day actually. As down the pitch comes Rory Burns, drives straight out to extra cover, throw comes in, and Burns is home for the single. Got to take every run now, so Rory Burns moves on to 13. Gus Atkinson comes on to strike, yet to get off the mark. Off go the boundary riders, as I think they're known as now. As long on, deep mid wicket, deep backward square, sweeper on the cover rope and a long off. As in over the wicket goes Waller to the right-handed Atkinson. He's looking to turn this into the leg side, hits the pad and rolls into the offside. And there's now, and there are all these new terms that keep coming up. Match up, Mr.
Oh, you were going on about that down in Taunton, weren't you?
I thought it was a dating app, but it turns out it's something to do with cricket. Sweeping here is Atkinson. It hits the pad, rolls out into the offside, and there is no run. Yeah, they sort of look at the opposition, then match up which bowler they want to which batter. As over the wicket again comes Waller, and this is swept by Atkinson out towards deep mid wicket. Round comes Craig Overton to do the fielding, just the single. 126 for 6. But you'll see spin from Surrey as well. I think Craig Overton's been outstanding tonight, because what you do want on here is a bit of pace on. But he's varied his pace, he's mixed it up. Very good bowling tonight from Craig Overton, as this is short, cut by Burns out towards the sweeper on the cover point rope, and that'll just be another single for Rory Burns. So difficult to hit the boundaries. 127 for 6. Burns moves on to 14.
Somerset need to finish this off now. It's been a good bowling performance, but they need to keep it reasonably tight the last couple of overs.
What will be in the back of their minds as Gus Atkinson waits again, is sweeping is Atkinson down towards short fine leg, and they'll pick up another single. And this is nothing against these 3 gentlemen, but Batty, Moriarty and Dernbach to come. 128 for 6, 2 overs remaining for Surrey. Waller tonight, 4 overs, no mains, 1 for 17. Very good stuff from Max Waller this evening.
Yep, very good indeed. And all the Somerset bowlers have bowled pretty well. Josh Davey, much the most expensive, just bowled the 1 over which went for 21. Lewis Gregory, none for 21 in 2, going at 10.5. But Leach going at 7, Overton at 5, Goldsworthy 6.33, Max Waller just 4.25. It's going to be Goldsworthy from the pavilion end, is in and bowls, and that's played up to long on to Craig Overton just for a single. Another run to young Gus, who's on to 3. What a good name, isn't it? Angus Atkinson.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
Good name.
Goldsworthy, 20 years old, from Camborne. He's going to be bowling to Rory Burns. He's there and bowls, and Burns goes for the reverse sweep, and there's a very good stop down there by Josh Davey, who isn't, one wouldn't say he was the most athletic fielder in this Somerset side, but he did jolly well there.
Yeah, he saved a couple of runs there, didn't he?
Certainly did. 2 runs are taken, 131 for 6. But could easily have gone for 4. It was very well timed by Rory Burns. I've already seen a switch hit from Burns. That was more of the reverse sweep. Goldsworthy coming from the sunshine into the shade, pushes this one through. It's driven up towards Max Waller at long on. Waller's across, sends in the return. He got it in the air quickly, but that's just about all you could say for it. And they complete 2 more runs, 133 for 6. We're in the halfway through the 19th over, so 9 balls remaining in the innings. Somerset will badly want to keep Surrey to below 150. Burns swings this away out into the deep. Overton is underneath it and takes the catch. Comfortable as you like, out on the deep mid-wicket boundary. And that is the 7th Surrey wicket, and it's the wicket of Rory Burns. Caught Overton, bowled Goldsworthy for 18.
Well, yeah, had to go for it, Rory Burns, but again, it's that long old boundary out towards deep mid-wicket, and slog sweeping Rory Burns. Got quite a bit of that, actually, but Craig Overton just stood probably 10-15 yards in from that boundary rope, didn't have to move an inch, and took a very straightforward and simple catch. So 133 for 7, and out comes Dan Moriarty, who batted for the first time in his 18th T20 game, I think it was, on Monday night, and made 6 not out, left-hander. So a little bit of work to do here, but Atkinson is back on strike on 3.
And Lewis Goldsworthy 1 for 24 with 2 balls remaining. Gregory just changing his field. He's going to cover point, moving his boundary rider straighter. Goldsworthy bowls, and this is smeared up to long on by Atkinson. Not a shot of great beauty, not a thing of beauty or a joy forever.
No, single, but as I'm not sure that'll make the highlights.
134 for 7. 1 ball remaining in the 19th over. Who is Somerset going to get to bowl the 20th? I wonder. We shall see. Gregory bowl,
Captain?
Yeah, I should think. Goldsworthy then, bowling to Moriarty, who gets this up to long on, and Waller again in business, sends in the return. End of that over, the 19th, 135 for 7, and Lewis Goldsworthy finishes with figures of 4 overs, 1 for 26.
Yeah, and he's bowled very nicely as well tonight, Lewis Goldsworthy. Again, spin, very important here in T20. So who will it be to bowl? It's Josh Davey.
Josh Davey.
Josh Davey.
Not sure about that.
So Josh Davy's bowled 1 over so far. So Surrey 135 for 7. Can they find another 10 runs in this final over? It'll be tricky for Moriarty and Atkinson. But if you look, it's a funny looking scorecard really for Surrey.
I was just going to say exactly the same. You look at Will Jacks 65, and the next highest is Rory Burns with 18.
I know, and it's sort of very stop-start this innings. So dominated by Will Jacks, obviously with 65. They picked up their wickets at good times. Have Somerset, but what it would say there is it's very difficult just to walk out there from ball 1 and start smashing it all over the ground. So Dan Moriarty will be on strike, and it's going to be Josh Davey from the Vauxhall end coming in over the wicket to Moriarty. First ball's a slow, wide delivery outside the off stump, and it'll be signal wide. So they'll still have 6 balls, Surrey, and 136 for 7. So didn't quite get that one right, Josh Davey. And you can see what he was thinking. Slower ball, but it was too wide outside that off stump, and really no option there for Rob Bailey. So still 6 balls left as Davey comes over the wicket to Dan Moriarty, and Moriarty swings leg side out towards deep mid-wicket, and they will pick up a single, 1 more to the total, and Moriarty moves on to 2, 137 for 7.
Again, apologies to listeners on Radio Somerset DAB for the rumbling. We don't know what's causing it, and there isn't much, I'm afraid, we can do about it.
I could try something at half time.
I'm not sure it's here. I think it's.
I think it might be. Yeah,
end.
we've never had it before. I'm not just saying it's like me. Never done that before. As in over the wicket comes Davey, and this is swung down the ground towards long on by Gus Atkinson, and Jamie Overton does the fielding down below us. And 1 more to Gus Atkinson. He moves on to 5, 130 8 for 7. It's sort of workmanlike, this from Surrey, this total at the moment. 118 they made on Monday night, so they found 20 runs.
That was in 17 overs though, wasn't it?
Yeah, as in over the wicket once again comes Josh Davey, and this is swung by Moriarty. Good shot over the leg side for 6. That is a good shot. He sort of jumped outside his off stump and taken that off around about middle of the leg, I'd say, and has just swung it short leg side boundary and into the Peter May stand for 6. So Moriarty moves on to 8. Surrey move on to 144 for 7.
Not sure about Josh Davey bowling in the last over. He's been much the most expensive of the Somerset bowlers.
Well, manufactured 6 runs there, Dan Moriarty. 3 balls left of the innings. 144 for 7. I thought par was about 150. So we're 6 runs away from that now. Sorry, third man's being brought up to the edge of the circle, and deep backward square goes out into the sunshine as Josh Davey comes in over the wicket once again to Moriarty's outside his off stump, swing and a miss from Dan Moriarty, and that's into the gloves of Banton.
Taking pace off.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll see a lot of that from the Surrey quicker men tonight as well, and Surrey of course will have their spinners as well. Will Jacks, Dan Moriarty and Gareth Batty. He's been very economical so far in the competition as Gareth Batty. So yeah, very interesting this at the moment, as over the wicket once more then comes Josh Davey to Moriarty, swing and a miss again from Dan Moriarty.
Carbon copy, wouldn't it?
But it was, I think as well, Dan Moriarty was playing that as if it was going to be a good length delivery, and it almost hit Josh Davey on his bootstraps. So it's good bowling from Josh Davey. Sort of come back into this very well as Davey. 9 off this last over, and we have 1 ball to go. 144 for 7. Somerset bowled very nicely this evening of Somerset. I've done the first part of the job very well. As here is Davey. Oh, that'll be a wide, very wide outside the off stump, because again Moriarty was sort of jumping across his stumps and he followed him, and that's well taken by Banton. That'll be 1 more to the total. There's still a ball to come. 145 for 7.
Coming very close to the
he'll be all right.
hour.
I think you have to start that last over at 7:45.
Right, yeah.
If this had been the 19th over, Somerset may have had a problem here, but they started before 1:45 as he's in again. Davey, last ball of the innings, is whipped by Moriarty out towards deep mid wicket. Will they come back for 2? They may as well. Throws in, run out. Gus Atkinson. Green out there does the fielding. That'll be another single though to Atkinson, and it's a good bit of work out there to deep mid wicket. Moriarty picks up that 1 run, because run out Atkinson coming back for the second. So that'll be 146 for 8 on the board. It'll be 147, Anthony Gibson, for Somerset to win.
Yep, a decent bowling performance from Somerset, albeit on a pitch that is offering certainly the spinners.
So Surrey in the end making 146 for 8 off their 20 overs. Thanks to Mark Church and Anthony Gibson for the commentary of the first innings of this game. But they were 53 for 1 after the power play, Gareth Townsend. So not quite plan executed, was it, in this case?
No, Will Jacks played very well, and it just seemed we lacked any substantial partnerships all the way through the innings. No one really stayed with Will and got the boundary count up, so we kind of nudged it along. Once we lost Jacks, we kind of lost any kind of edge to our batting, but we've got to an okay total. I think it's a little bit under par, and we're going to have to start very well with the ball to put some pressure on Somerset.
Yeah, it seemed a little frustrating. You had Jordan Clark, who had a couple of boundaries early on, well set, 15 off 10, and Rory Burns, nudged it around as he does, and he scored 18 off 19, but it felt like there wasn't, as you say, that punch, and the idea to go hard early on, but you had a platform there with 53 for 1. But let's talk a little bit about Will Jacks. I mean, how much does Surrey rely on him? I mean, he's turning out to be a sparkling young cricketer, isn't he?
Yeah, his innings was exemplary piece of one-day batting. He started aggressively, he kept measured all the way through. He was very obviously disappointed to get out, getting caught at long off, pretty frustrated with it. But I think his 60 or 40 balls was a pretty good contribution. It was the rest of the kind of batting that kind of let us down a little bit.
A little bit like Essex did just a couple of nights ago against Surrey. They sort of did a Surrey on Surrey, and here at Somerset have bowled 12 overs of spin and some decent performances here. Maxwell 117 off 4. Lewis Goldsworthy not to be sniffed at, 1 for 26 off 4. But what about Jack Leach on his T20 debut? 4 for 28 off 3.
They also got the wickets of Evans and Jack, so
the run out too.
Two important wickets. He went for a few boundaries in the power play, but that can happen. I think the 3 spinners played very well. Waller is a very experienced one-day bowler, and Lewis Goldsworthy, who's quite inexperienced, I thought bowled really well.
Just by the way, if you can hear some noise behind me and you can hear the dulcets of Johnny Barron, our PA here at the Kia Oval, it's because we've got the Kia High Catch underway. You can see it on your screens right now. It's a chance for the crowd who are in here. 4,000 tickets made available for this game at the Kia Oval. Their chance to win a bit of merchandise and some prizes. The tennis balls get catapulted into the sky, and then it's simply a case of catching as many as you can. Prizes offered for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 successful catches, so you can get home with a nice booty of Surrey merchandise if you have a safe pair of hands. But let me tell you, it is much, much harder when there is a full capacity 25,000 crowd. Not the case today, but hopefully that capacity will increase over time as we make our way through the pandemic. Okay, so Gareth, what's this going on behind us? What are the sort of conversations then that are going on? You've made 146 for 8. Somerset will chase 147 to win. What sorts of things are being said? What sorts of conversations are being had as to the approach?
Well, they're not going to panic. I think they'll feel they're very much in the game. They'll bowl to their strengths. They'll make sure that the power play is one where they look to get wickets. Obviously, Banton is a dangerous prospect for Somerset in terms of the amount of runs and the rate he can go at, so I think they'll target him to make sure they keep him quiet, make sure their fielding is as top class as it can be, and just try and squeeze them in that first 6 so they can build some run rate pressure and scoreboard pressure for the rest of the innings.
We know that we're going to be expecting 4 overs from Will Jacks, 4 overs from Dan Moriarty, 4 overs from Gareth Batty, but we did see Josh Davey go for a few runs. His couple of overs went for more than 30, and Will Jacks in particular tucked into him with successive boundaries. So how much pressure is there on the pace bowlers here? The likes of Gus Atkinson, Jordan Clark. We don't expect Jamie Overton necessarily to bowl, but they will need to keep it very tight, won't they?
Yeah, and I think it's about putting the ball in the right place and getting Somerset to hit the ball into the far parts of the boundary, making sure they don't bowl to the short boundary. I think Davies' over tended to go a little bit into the wicket and sat up, so they got hit over mid-wicket. So I think the seamers, or our seamers, will need to bowl with the intelligence of having a home venue as their kind of home patch and make sure they take advantage of it.
Apart from Will Jacks, but boundaries were relatively hard to come by for the Surrey batsmen. How do you make that difficult for the Somerset batsmen? How important is the fielding just to save those boundaries, make it a 2 instead? Just to make sure the pressure just continually is on the Somerset batsmen to keep trying to find the boundary road.
Yeah, it's vitally important. I think they had one misfield early on, went through someone's hands for 4, but apart from that I thought Somerset fielded pretty well. You've got to make sure on the larger side of the boundary you're in off the rope, because you can say there are plenty of 2s out there, and it also depends a little bit on how Somerset approach this. If they go hell for leather and lose early wickets, then they may put themselves under pressure. So I think the first 6 overs are crucial for both sides to set the rest of the innings and how it'll kind of open out.
I mean, you mentioned Tom Banton, but what about James Hildreth? You mentioned the 200 up in terms of T20s and appearances. That's a very balanced partnership, isn't it? The experience of Hildreth, the youthful exuberance of Banton. How important to break that up. It's what we saw last time out with Essex. First ball, Hashim Amla is walking back to the pavilion. Then the next over, Will Jacks is walking back to the pavilion. Never got any momentum in that game. Is that partly what this is about as well?
I think so. I think Bantam's innings will unfold a little bit like Jacks's. If you don't get him out, he will kind of cause you damage. Hildreth, I think, will play very much an experienced role and will knock it around and try and kind of anchor the innings and let players play around him, dependent on what the run rate is.
Okay. And in terms of Surrey, I mean, how crucial is this game? Because of course we started off with 3 wins, 2 no results with those washouts against Sussex and against Hampshire Hawks, then the defeat against Essex. So suddenly it's the downturn in form. You don't want that to continue. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, it's set game 7 of 11, so not many left after this, and in fact a little while till we return to the Kia Oval. We're on the road after this, so it's important, isn't it, to just try and turn the tide again, get the win under the belt, and then get a little bit of breathing space at the top of the South Group.
Yeah, everyone talks about momentum, don't they? And we had it at the start of the tournament. We came a cropper a little bit against Essex, and so this game is vitally important. We've got tonight, and then we've got Hampshire on Friday. I think those are 2 pivotal games. If we don't win those games, we're going to put ourselves under an awful amount of pressure in terms of the latter part of the competition.
And the good thing about having a crowd in, and not necessarily a full crowd, but 4,000 fans in, you can hear individual conversations. We've got a very educated, cricket-knowing public here at the Kia Oval, and they will probably be looking at this very much like you have yourself, Gareth, and said, well, look, you're in the game, something to defend, maybe a little under par, but I wonder what kind of role they can play, because when you're out there on the boundary rope, with they really cheering you on to try and save that boundary. If you're the fielding,
obvious because of all the things that have gone on, but the crowd is large enough to make enough noise and to get the atmosphere going, to put a little bit of pressure and hopefully cheer on Surrey and make sure that when the wickets fall and the dot balls come, that the Somerset batters begin to feel a little bit under pressure.
Okay, so as we mentioned before, Surrey 146 for 8 off their 20 overs, a little bit under par on this pitch in these conditions, but Somerset we're going to have to chase down 147 for victory. Let's return you to our commentary team for Anthony Gibson and Mark Church.
That is 3, 4 and 5 where there's a bit of a question mark against the Somerset batting lineup, particularly on a pitch like this, where I think it will help to have had a little bit of experience to. I think in the same way you were talking about the way Will Jacks, when he first came in, he just had a bit of a look at it and picked up the pace of the pitch. He didn't go hard straight away, and I think Somerset are going to need to learn from that.
Well, absolutely. I was going to say, Hildreth and Bantam are 2 brilliant players, but I think it's not going to be that easy going hard straight from the top here. I know that's the way they've played their T20 cricket so far, but I think on this pitch you've got to have a look. And the other thing is the size of the boundaries as well. They are, on one side of the ground is absolutely massive, and if you don't get all of it, you're in trouble. You really are in trouble.
I'll tell you something that's quite odd though, is that the pitch here is just about aligned with the middle of the pavilion, so you would expect the boundaries to be more or less equidistant. So presumably the ground has lost.
Yeah, well, I think with the
outfield,
I know for a fact that with the Peter May stand, because of course the Peter May stand, that's the new Peter May stand from a couple of years ago, that did come in. So they've lost a little bit of ground down there in front of the pavilion in the Peter May stand. So that will be the reason that it's a much longer carry out towards the Harleford Road and Archbishop Tennyson's School.
The straight boundaries aren't as long as they used to be,
no,
are they?
And again, we're sat in what is now the JM Finn stand, which was obviously built for the 2005 Ashes series. Nothing's changed in front of the pavilion, but to the side now on the left with one oval square and that Peter May stand, they have lost a bit of the ground for that. So yeah, definitely lost some surface area with all the sort of redevelopments. But
in the old days, the Oval must have been the biggest ground in the country, wasn't it?
I think surface area-wise, isn't it Grace Road?
Well, now, but I'm sure the Oval in
probably
in the
actually,
old days.
Absolutely. I would have thought you're right, but I think I'm right in saying, am I not, that Grace Road now is?
I think
in
so.
The world, second biggest surface area in the world now, after is it the MCG? I think Grace Road.
It's not called Grace Road anymore.
No, it's called the
Upton Steel
County Ground, Grace Road. But yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? I think with all redevelopments and things, you do lose a little bit of the ground. But the boundary for the right-handers, with the bowler coming in from the Vauxhall end off towards the Harleford Road, is a long old carry.
It is, and so it should be. I think everything is so loaded in the batsman's favour that it's not. I think it's not a good thing that miss hits can go for 6 when they bring the boundaries right in.
Well, the other thing is that they always talk about playing it like you would in an international. Well, in the internationals, you slap bang in the middle, and they use the entire surface area, don't they? So if you want to get players ready for playing international T20, then although sometimes some of the boundaries you see in sort of games round the world, you think, dearie me, you could toothpick could probably hit that for 6, to be fair, but there we go. But here we go then. So out come Messrs Hildreth and Banton, and James Hildreth, his 200th T20 game, and all of those for Somerset. What a record that is. It really is fantastic. And 147 to win for Somerset. Surrey in the duck egg blue shirt, Mr. Gibson, and
it's not.
It's duck egg blue. It's officially duck egg blue. If you want,
have you ever seen a duck egg that colour?
I have seen it. No, I've seen shirts that colour though. So, well, I've been told that if I go into any well-known DIY store and say I want my kitchen duck egg blue, it will be that colour.
That's almost sky blue.
Duck egg is the official term. Duck egg is the official term. Oh gosh, we're going to get onto wyverns and dragons in a minute if we're not careful, Mr. Gibson. Deary me. Oh gosh. Ooh, the other thing I've noticed is Jade Dernbach is wearing a rather natty bandana out there as well. I've not seen that before. That's new. A new bandana for Jade Dernbach this evening. So it's all go, and it's going to be Gus Atkinson to bowl the first over from the pavilion end. Do you want to change of ends, Mr. Gibson, or do you want to continue?
Lovely. I'm quite happy with it from the pavilion end. Atkinson's going to be bowling to Tom Banton. Got a slip in, Rory Burns. Here comes Atkinson then to Banton. He's there and bowls, and Banton just drops that into the offside and won't get a run.
From memory, Banton was out in the first over, wasn't he? At Taunton off Sam Curran.
I think he was.
Caught by Gareth Batty at backward point, yes.
Just made the one. Played a rather limp sort of shot, nothing sort of shot.
He's due. He's going to hurt someone at some point, Banton. No doubt whatsoever about that.
Well,
could it be tonight, I wonder? Big crowd, test ground.
Atkinson, right arm over the wicket, and this is turned away into the onside, and they won't get a run. There's a very good stop there.
Oh, he's got a headband on, Jade. It's not a bandana. I thought it was a bandana. He's got a headband on tonight. I've never seen him in a headband before. Yeah, rather natty, isn't it?
It is.
Dark blue goes with the duck egg blue.
It's a bit like he's channeling Tom Curran.
Indeed, yeah.
Atkinson to Banton. Drives slightly uppishly, get away into the offside, and it's not fielded cleanly by Jamie Overton at extra cover, which means that they can steal a single, and Banton is underway, and Somerset are underway. One without loss halfway through the first over.
Yeah, with a man with 200 games now under his belt opening up, and someone who can weigh up conditions pretty quickly, James Hildreth.
He's waiting there now as Atkinson is in and bowls. Oh, and he makes room for himself outside the leg stump, and I think that went over the top of the middle stump.
Yeah, a bit of nip there, wasn't there, for Gus Atkinson. He's got a whippy action, Gus Atkinson. I think he's one of those that batters talk about, he gets onto you quicker than you expect.
19, did you say?
20 now, I think, Gus.
Here he comes again. He's in bowls, and Hildreth is going to take a single this time. This is Batty at mid-on, just a little bit back on his heels. 2 without loss, 1 ball remaining in the first over. 147 is Somerset's target. They're 7th in the South Group at the moment, Somerset, so could do with a win. Atkinson to Banton, who plays that away down to fine leg for 4 runs. Didn't really get hold of it, but got enough bat on it and picked his spot nicely. So 6 without loss at the end of the first over. 5 of those to Banton and 1 to Hildreth.
Yeah, nicely put away by Tom Banton, just on his hip, about around his midriff really, on the top of middle stump, and just swung it leg side, and away for 4 runs. It's going to be Will Jacks with his off spin from the Vauxhall end of the ground. James Hildreth will be on strike on 1. 6 without loss, then chasing 147 after that first over. Somerset. I think I'm right in saying if Surrey were to win tonight, they go top of the table, actually.
Probably
10 points, I think.
When are you going to get your big stars back in? The Ollie Popes and Jason Roys and
I think
Currans.
Ollie Pope will be available Friday. Well, of course, Tom, Sam and Jason are away now with quite a lot of white ball stuff, aren't they? And then you think Sam will be involved in the Test series against India. Here is Will Jacks, and this is chopped away by Hildreth out towards extra cover. And there's no run. But of course, they got Carl Jameson as well.
Of course,
coming in.
So will he be playing on Friday?
I'm not sure. I suppose he could be. As they've just won that Test matches. All reverse sweeping here is Hildreth. Hits his pad, rolls away into the leg side, and there's no run.
We're already seeing how difficult it is for the batsman to get the spin away.
And we saw it in the Surrey innings. Somerset 6 without loss. Jacks is in again. He's reverse sweeping again. That's turned and gone past the edge of the bat.
There's a wide.
Now I think that's a bit harsh from umpire Bailey. I really do, because that has turned a huge amount. Will Jackson's got a smile on his face, but he's playing a reverse sweep as well.
Exactly. I mean, it went down the leg side, but
a little
Hildreth have got the other way.
From umpire Bailey, who's now stood in front of Will Jacks. And what are we waiting for here? Umpire Bailey, is he chatting to somebody? What are we waiting for? Why was the signal? It hasn't gone up on the scoreboard, that's why. He's trying to get in touch with the scorers here to let them know he signalled a wide. Yep, they've got it now. As in comes Jacks again, and this one's hitting the pad, coming down the pitch is Hildreth, trying to work leg side again. That rolls out towards extra cover. There's no run, so even James Hildreth here in his 200th game, he's finding Will Jacks very difficult to get away at the moment, as he's jumping all over the crease here, sweeping, and that one's gone past the top of the leg stump this time, I think. So this is impossible at the moment for James Hildreth. He's tried reverse sweeps, orthodox sweeps. They still haven't put that wide up on the scoreboard yet. Where's he going now? It's orthodox sweep straight down to a short fine leg, and there will be no run. Well, fascinating over that. There was a wide in it. It should be 7 without loss on that scoreboard after 2 overs, but other than that, James Hildreth couldn't lay a bat on Will Jacks, could he? 2 gone and Somerset a 7 without loss.
He's tried everything. He tried the reverse sweep, he tried the slog sweep, he tried the orthodox sweep. Nothing worked. It's not easy out there to bat against good spin bowling. We've got another over from young Mr. Atkinson, who's in and bowls to Banton, who hits that straight up in the air, is going to be caught, and is indeed caught by Jade Dernbach. And Tom Banton went for the big hit, didn't get hold of it at all, top edge, comfortable catch. 7 for 1.
It's what we were saying. I think going after it in the power play here is going to be really difficult. And he was through that very early, wasn't he? And it just went straight up in the air, and the head-banded Dernbach took a very simple catch, really, but nicely bowled by Gus Atkinson. But yeah, I think it's just not a pitch you can go after it in the power play, really. It's just not coming on. We've seen the spin's absolutely critical. And Banton goes for 5, and Smede's out there in the middle now. Joins. They've still got it up on the board as 6 for 1, but there was definitely that wide in that over from umpire Bailey, and he was shouting up to the scorers. But on the scoreboard, it's still 6 for 1. But I think that should be 7 for 1.
Will Smede, this is his 8th T20 for Somerset. 19 years old from Taunton. Atkinson is in and bowls to him, and he just pushes that into the offside and sets off for a well-judged single, so he is off the mark. Will Jacks picking up at mid-off, 8 for 1.
Yeah, there's some young lads playing in this game, isn't there? Some talent around the place. Yeah, I think that should be 8 for 1 on the scoreboard, but it's still at the moment 7 for 1.
Here's Atkinson to Hildreth, down the pitch, gets an inside edge, and very nearly plays on. He's all over the shop at the moment, James Hildreth. He hasn't middled a single shot so far.
You know how much I adore James Hildreth as a cricketer, but if you didn't know James Hildreth was playing his 200th game, you'd think this was his first one at the moment.
Absolutely. He can make nothing of the bowling at the moment. Atkinson to Hildreth is there and bowls, make room for himself. This time he swings it away down to long leg. He advanced down the pitch to Atkinson. Atkinson responded by dropping it in short, and Hildreth responded in turn by hooking it over the top of short fine leg down to the long leg boundary.
It's a gorgeous shot. Just giving himself some room outside that leg stump, and Atkinson's followed him, banged it in, and that's just a swivel really from Hildreth, and whistles off to the boundary rope for his first 4.
Atkinson to Hildreth, and this time he plays that square of the wicket just backward of square, finds the gap between backward point and short third man, and picks up 4 runs. That's much more like the real James Hildreth.
Isn't it funny how one shot can get you going? And that
15 for 1.
Hook off his nose from Atkinson, and then very next ball just backs away, caresses that off through the covers for 4 more. It's on to 9, James Hildreth.
Still no wides been credited. Very strange. Perhaps he rescinded it. Perhaps he changed his mind. Here's Atkinson to Hildreth, who've taken on the pad, and they go through for a quick single, and good backing up from Will Smeed. And there was a little bit of bat involved there, a little bit of inside edge onto pad. So the end of the 3rd over, 16 for 1.
Yeah, we'll stick with what's on the board then. But I could have sworn umpire Bailey signal wide, and then there was a bit of a delay while he tried to get up to the scorers. But we'll stick with what's on the board.
Perhaps he was telling them that he'd changed his mind.
Maybe he did change his mind. 16 for 1. It did look a harsh score.
Well, it was because
actually
was reverse sweeping.
Well, Jax now has got 1 over 1 maiden. So maybe he did change his mind.
Yeah, I think
maybe
so.
that's what it was. So 16 for 1 we'll stick with. But it did seem a harsh call. Now, Jamie Overton, his 2nd over in the competition this summer. His first over was against Somerset. His 2nd over is going to be against Somerset. Hildreth is on strike on 10, 4th over. And Craig Overton bowled very nicely. Here comes brother Jamie. And this one's turned, first of all, by Hildreth on the toes into the leg side. Rolls in there towards Atkinson at short mid-wicket, and there is no run. So yes, I just wonder whether with that umpire signalled wide, and then maybe Jack said, hang on, he's played a reverse sweep and it's spun, and maybe that was, I suppose. So, and then they changed it back as Jamie Overton over the wicket he comes. Hildreth dances around the crease and then gets this ball somehow down to a 3rd man for a single as the throw comes in down there from Geddes, and Hildreth moves on to 11, and Somerset 17 for 1. Just to give you an idea, at the end of the 4th over, Surrey were 23 for 1. So they've lost Banton for a single. Smeed comes on to strike on 1. 2 out at the 3rd man in the deep backward square for Jamie Overton. As over the wicket he comes to the right-handed Smeed. Well bowled, great length. And that beats the edge. That's done him for pace as much as anything as well. Yep, lovely bit of bowling from Jamie Overton, and Jamie Smith takes that one off his feet. But good pace from Jamie Overton, great length that from Jamie Overton.
Good rhythm as well.
Well, he bowled the best spell I've seen him bowl for Surrey in the last championship game against Gloucestershire, and he looked dynamite in his 2nd spell that evening as Jamie Overton's in once again over the wicket to Smeed. Short ball, Smeed with the uppercut, gets nothing on this, and that's taken off his feet again by Jamie Smith. So working up ahead of steam here is Jamie Overton. A lot of Jamies playing tonight, aren't there? 17 for 1. A lot of Lewises and a lot of Jamies tonight.
Yep.
There'll be someone with a stat, won't there, somewhere? It's the first time there have been 2 Jamies.
Well, we had in the game against Hampshire, we had 3 Lewises.
3. Well, that can't have happened very often, I wouldn't have thought. 17 for 1. Jamie Overton in over the wicket he comes once again, and that's well bowled. Took the pace off this one, and Smeed's looking to work it leg side, hits the pad, rolls away into the offside, and there's no run. And again, it's just showing on here how tricky it is. And Smeed early in his T20 career. He's got a bit of time here. Doesn't need to panic at all. Got the experience at the other end. 17 for 1. Target 147 for Somerset. Waits again does the right-handed Smeed as Jamie Overton's in turn. He's picked him up, whipped him leg side for 6. What a shot that is. Well, that's the long boundary, and Rory Burns just watched it go over his head. Wow, those hands and those wrists of Smeed there, and that is just whipped. Bottom hand for 6. Did he not do that into the car park from memory at Taunton as well? 23 for 1. 4 overs have gone.
He went bouncing around amongst the cars towards Priory Bridge Road, and that was a very similar pickup shot. Played it really nicely. 23 for 1 after 4 overs.
Yeah, Jordan Clark into the attack now for Surrey. Yeah, that was a big old carry, that one, into the car park, because it bounced on the concrete.
Yeah, I think Rory Burns thought he was in business.
Yeah, he did, and then it just went straight over his head. Yeah, the pickup shot, don't bowl there to him.
Jordan Clark then to James Hildreth. He's there and bowls, and Hildreth swings and misses. Calm down, James. Calm down. We need. Well, Somerset needs someone to anchor this innings, someone to play the Will Jacks innings, and James Hildreth, who's much the most experienced of this very inexperienced Somerset top order batting.
One of the most elegant players you could ever wish to see.
Yeah, just wafting it around outside the Austin. Here comes Clark again. He's there and bowls. Hildreth. Oh, he plays bowls the most. That's a
no ball.
Given as a no ball, but on height. As Hildreth moved outside the leg stump, and Clark followed him. And it's free hit.
Yeah, and Jordan Clark immediately put his hand up to say sorry. I think he was looking for the Yorker, and it came out slightly wrong, and Hildreth ended up sitting on the ground.
25 for 1, a free hit as Clark bowls to Hildreth, who plays that away for 6 into the Peter May stand. Picked that one up. It was in the slot from Jordan Clark, but beautifully timed on that occasion by James Hildreth.
It's been the strangest innings this from James Hildreth. It really has. We put that away beautifully. But in between playing and missing, he's played a couple of lovely shots so far.
Yeah. 31 for 1 in the 5th over.
Yeah, we've got to wait for the ball to be sanitised now.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Because it went into the crowd, so slight delay whilst the ball gets sanitised.
I can tell you that Hungary have taken a 1-0 lead against Germany.
Oh, have they? Oh, there you are.
In the Euros.
The ball being sanitised almost sounds like a religious ceremony now, doesn't it?
Just bonkers. Here's Clark to Hildreth, and Hildreth just waits on this and turns it square of the wicket on the onside. 32 for 1, moves on to 18. The 1 is, I'm afraid, for those of you who are of a Somerset persuasion, Tom Banton again, who's having a pretty thin time of it in this year's T20. Clark to Smeed, who plays that, but only as far as backward point. He timed that nicely, did Smeed, looking for the gap. It's more of a, what do you call that? Backward point or short third man? It's sort of halfway in between.
Yeah, and Geddes is in there actually, so they've got the young man in there. Important position that. Got around there very quickly.
He did. Nice neat stop. Here's Clark then to Smeed. drives over the top of the extra cover. He didn't quite time it. There'll be 2 here, I should imagine. The ball's running away down towards the boundary and has gone over the boundary. And
Gus Atkinson lost his trousers
Gus
there.
Atkinson down there, yeah. 4 runs to Smeed. That was a well-judged shot.
He done half-time it well, didn't he? I thought that at Taunton. And that pickup shot we saw earlier, good bit of bat in his hand. Yeah, poor old Gus Atkinson lost his trousers as he dived for the ball.
36 for 1. As Clark bowls to Smeed, who drives that away through. That was a lovely shot. Beautiful shot through the onside with a straight bat up to the Peter May stand. That's a really classy shot.